Okay, today is the day for sentence patterns. Everyone's favorites. Probably not, but we're going to go ahead and dig in. Um, we are going to go over a total of 7 patterns. 5 of them are old, and if you've been here with me for a few years, you have seen the other 5 on more than one occasion. The first 5. The latter 2 are new, and for 10th graders, you will get to do only the first old 5 first, and then practice with the second 5 in the next lesson. I'm going ahead and introducing them all now, though. You might as well see them all, know what's coming, and the 11th and 12th graders get to do all, well, actually I lied. The 11th graders get to do all 7 at one time, right off the bat, because they have, if they were here last year, they have seen them before, all 7. And then which I think all of our 11th graders this year in 2020 have been with us before. Yay, been with me before. And then the seniors get 6 out of 7. They don't get the SBE which is one of the 2 new ones. It's not in their book, so yay for them. All right, let's get started. You can divide these sentence patterns into one of 2 groups, and I know that the 10th and 11th grade books do divide them into 2 groups. They divide them into action verb sentence patterns, of which there are 4, including the new one, and linking verb / being verb sentence patterns, of which there are 3, including the one new one. So that's the way we're going to approach this lesson on the internet, okay, here on YouTube. So the first 4 include action verbs. Now remember, we have 2 kinds of action verbs. We have intransitive action verbs, and intransitive means that the verb does not transfer its action to a direct object. So if you have SIMV, what you have effectively is you have a subject with an action verb, and then that action verb is followed by an adverb or perhaps an adverbial prepositional phrase, but there is no noun that receives the action of that verb, where the action is transferred from the verb to the direct object. There is no direct object. So therefore we have SIMV. Here's an example, and you have other examples in your book. The ball rolled across the street. Ball is your subject and rolled is your verb. We should recognize that it is an action verb. It's doing something. So then, see if we have a direct object, we have to ask ourselves the questions whom or what after that action verb. So let's do that. The ball rolled whom or what? Do we have an answer? Nope, we do not. Okay. Across the street is a prepositional phrase answering where. Okay, and heretofore, none of our sentence parts have been able to be in a prepositional phrase. There is a caveat to that, and we will discuss that in just a moment. So the next pattern, STRVDO. All right, so our subject in this sentence is Briar. Briar did what? He hit. Hit is an action verb. He's doing something. So we ask whom or what to see if we have a direct object. Briar hit whom or what? Hit ball. Ball is your direct object. Of course, to me is just prepositional, adverbial prepositional. Where did he hit it? But it's not part of our sentence pattern. Okay, so STRVDO. Briar hit ball. Next slide, please. STRVIODO. Okay, this is the last one of the 3 original action verb sentence patterns. Briar is your subject. Briar did what? Hit. Hit is an action verb. So let's ask ourselves our whom or what questions to see if we have a direct object. And we, in fact, do. Briar hit ball. Hit what? He hit the ball. And he hit it to whom or for whom, or to what or for what. So Briar hit ball to whom or for whom in this case, and the answer is me. And that is your indirect object, okay? So Briar hit me the ball. Remember, you always find your direct object before looking for an indirect object, okay? Even though the IO is almost always before the DO, between the verb and the DO, the IO is almost always in that location in your sentence pattern. You still have to find your DO and ask the whom or what before you try to find the IO, which is the to whom, for whom, to what, or for what, okay? All right. One more here, and 10th graders, you do not use this today. You will use this in the next lesson, okay? But I'm going ahead and introducing it. 11th and 12th graders will get to use this first time around, okay? STRVDOOC, okay? You cannot make a square peg round. Subject is you. Your verb, be careful here. Your verb is can make. Remember, not is never a verb, not is always an adverb. So even when not is connected to the word can, even though it is part of the word, not cannot be included as your verb. So you can make is your verb phrase, and make is an action word. So let's see if we have a direct object. You can make what? Peg. But try to read this sentence and end it at peg. You cannot make a square peg. Well, you actually can make a square peg, okay? So that's not true, but even if it were a true statement, you're not done. It changes the idea of the sentence if you end it there. You're not saying you can't make a square peg. You're in fact saying you can't make a square peg what? And the answer to that what is round, okay? So here we have a new sentence pattern part called an objective complement. An objective complement acts like a predicate adjective or a predicate noun does for your subject. An objective complement will be either a noun or an adjective that always follows, usually right after, follows the direct object and completes the idea of the direct object by either renaming the direct object or describing the direct object, much like a PN or a PA again do for your subject, okay? So, you cannot make a square peg whom or what, and the answer is you can't make a square peg round. Round is their objective complement, functioning as an adjective, and coming right after peg and describing peg. Okay? All right. Next slide. SLVPN and SLVPA. First thing I want to remind you is that with linking verbs, if a verb is truly a linking verb, you can put an equal sign in the place of that verb, or the word equals in place of that verb, and reread the sentence, and it will make relative sense, okay? Another thing to remind you is your linking verbs are constituted by all of your forms of be, which are am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been, and the following words that are here at the bottom of this page: taste, feel, smell, sound, look, appear, become, seem, grow, remain, stay. Those 11, actually 10 of those 11, can be either action or linking verbs. The only one that can't be both is the word seem. Seem is always linking, okay? All the other 10 can be action or linking depending on their use in a sentence, okay? So we're looking, if we're doing linking verbs, we're looking for a form of be as our verb, or we're looking for one of these 11 words. So SLVPN. Remember that a predicate noun follows a linking verb and it renames your subject. Jesus became flesh for us. Okay? For us is prepositional. I marked it off. Might help you. You don't have to. And then what you have left is Jesus became flesh. Jesus is your subject. Became is a linking verb. Okay? In fact, I failed to add that became to the chart here. No, I did not. I lie, and I digress. Became is the past form of become. So, yes, it's there, okay? Became is a linking verb. Can we replace it with the word equals in this sentence? Absolutely we can. We could say Jesus equals flesh, and it would make sense. So became is a linking verb. Jesus became who or what? And our answer is Jesus became flesh. Then we have to decide, is flesh a naming word, like a noun, or is it a describing word, like an adjective? Well, one way to do this is to try to put the PN or PA in front of the subject in your mind, and if it would make sense, and your subject is a noun, not if your subject is a pronoun, but if it makes sense, putting your PN or your PA in front of your subject and reading it that way, and your subject is a noun, then you probably have an adjective describing your subject. So Jesus became who or what? Jesus became flesh. We could not say flesh Jesus became. That would make no sense. Flesh is indeed a thing, okay? And therefore it's a noun. SLVPN, Jesus became flesh, okay? Now, SLVPA is very similar. The sentence here we use is the fish tasted salty. Fish is your subject. Tasted is in that group of words that I made for you in the chart here just below, okay? In fact, it's the first one in that group. It's the past tense here. Fish equals what? Yes, that works. Tasted is indeed a linking verb. Fish tasted who or what? It tasted salty. Now, is salty an adjective or a noun? Well, if you're not 100% sure, again, if your subject is a noun, which this is, it's not a pronoun, fish is a noun, put your PN/PA in front of your subject and try reading it. Salty fish. That works, right? Makes sense. Salty fish. Salty is indeed an adjective. Here it is a predicate adjective following your linking verb in the predicate part of your sentence. Predicate is another word for verb. And salty goes back and describes fish. Salty fish. Okay. All right. One more slide. And I know this is a long video, but I think it's necessary for this video to be long, okay? This is not one of the easiest things you will do in grammar, as many of you have experienced already. All right, this one is not today for the 10th graders, okay? And it's actually not going to be at all for the 12th graders. God bless your hearts, you get a break on this one. But 11th graders will see this one in today's lesson, and 10th graders will see this one in the next lesson, okay? So the last sentence pattern we have to go over is SBEADVL. So technically, if you don't want to fool with this, seniors, you don't even have to look at this slide, and you may cut the video off now because this one, you don't have to fool with this one this year, okay? You probably won't have to fool with it again unless you're an English major or an English education major in college, okay? SBEADVL, okay? All of the verbs in this pattern will be a form of be. And if you look at the bottom of the page here, where we start with the yellow writing again, where it says forms of be include these words. Am, is, are, was, were, be, being, and been, or any verb phrase in which the last word in the verb phrase is a form of be. So as long as one of these words is either by itself the verb or is the last word in a verb phrase, one of these 8 words, okay, then you could have the sentence pattern SBE-ADVL. And the example I give is the verb will be. Okay, that could be a being verb. All right. You will see here in all these sentence examples that I give, you only have a one-word being verb. Okay. Here's the first one. Oh, before I go over those, all right. Questions that the adverbial will answer, okay, would be here or now. The adverbial may be a word such as here or now. Here and now are 2 very common adverbial filling words, okay, adverbial position filling words in your sentence pattern. If your adverbial in a sentence pattern is not the word here or is not the word now, then your adverbial is very likely a prepositional phrase. Now you say, what? Because heretofore, we can mark our prepositional phrases off, be all happy and glad knowing that none of our sentence pattern parts was inside of that prepositional phrase. Well, here's the deal. If your sentence pattern is SBE-ADVL, your ADVL could be an entire prepositional phrase, okay? Not part of a prepositional phrase, not a word in a prepositional phrase, but it is possible with SBE-ADVL that a prepositional phrase is in its entirety, the whole phrase, is your ADVL. Now, if that's the case, that prepositional phrase should answer one of these questions: where, when, or how. Okay. I believe that all 3 of these sentences either answer the questions where or when. I don't have a how example here. I apologize. I believe they might have one in your book. Okay. For 10th and 11th graders. Again, seniors probably turned me off about almost 4 minutes ago now. Okay. And that's fine. If you're still there, Jayla, I love you. All right, here we go. And any other seniors and all of you 10th and 11th graders. Okay, here is an example sentence. Here are the items needed. Okay. Often with SBE-ADVL sentences, as you will see with 2 out of 3 of these, you have an inverted order in your pattern, unlike any of the other sentence patterns usually, okay? Often the ADVL, okay, adverbial, will be, whether it's a prepositional phrase or particularly if it is the word here or now, will be at the beginning of the sentence, before the verb, and then the subject is last sometimes, often, as it is in the first and last sentence here. Here are the items needed. What's your verb? Find your verb first here. Are is your verb, okay? Who or what are here? Items. Items is your subject. But if you say the items needed are, you don't have a complete idea. So you must have something to complete it. The items needed are where? Here. Here is your ADVL. Are is your being verb. Items is your subject. Okay? Skip down to the 3rd example here because it's similar in structure as far as where the parts are laid out, and then we'll do the green sentence here in the middle. The last example sentence here, over the ridge are greener pastures. What is your being verb? Are. Who or what are? Pastures are. Notice it comes after your being verb, but you're not done. Greener pastures are, you're not done. Are, where, when, or how? They are where? Over the ridge. Over the ridge, the entire prepositional phrase is your adverbial. Greener pastures are over the ridge. And note, you can flip the order in this sentence. And finally, the best time to, just above that sentence, the best time to accept Christ is now. Okay? What is your verb? Is. That is a being verb. Who or what is? Time is, to accept Christ is an infinitive phrase describing time. Christ is not your subject, okay? It's the object of the infinitive, to accept. So time is our subject. Time is, again, we're not done, and now is not an adjective or a noun. So this can't be Slvpn or PA. Now is an adverb, a one-word adverb telling when. Best time, time is your subject. Is your being verb. Is when, time is when. Now is your adverbial. I know this is not fun for most of us. I know this is difficult for a lot of us. Take your time. Make sure you read your instructions carefully, because most of you will be able to separate your action and linking verbs in the first exercises before you have to put all the verbs together as action, linking, being, okay? And again, 10th graders, you're only dealing with the original 5 today. You don't have to worry about SPEADVL, and you don't have to worry about STRVDOOC today, 10th graders, okay? Follow your directions closely, all of you. Love you. Message me if you have specific questions about sentences or anything. Have a blessed day.